What's going on, everybody? It's your mother's brother and your grandmother's good looking son, and your grandmother is good looking son. Oh, what's good with y'all? Seems like we got a couple of updates in the Norbes case. The defendants have filed their predispositive motions, and even before Norbes' lawyers have a chance to respond, the judge in the court has responded. Now, I'm doing this live real quick. I'm not sure how many people even be in here, but I wanted to do the live real quick so I could get the information out. But basically, in this case, URL has tried to have certain documents sealed. A lot of those documents were sealed in the preliminary parts of the case, but the court has ruled that no documents going forward will be sealed for a dispositive motion or for the trial going forward, which means that, well, first let's do this.
EJ always. We rock with you long ways all day. Representing that wave gang. And y'all all know what's that
Bruh,
wave thing.
quit playing. Subscribe. I know. It's different. Man, also follow me on Twitter and IG at EJ_always. Y'all come back now. So let's take a look at the court document. All righty. All right, pending before the court. This is by the Honorable Barry R. Ostriger. Pending before the court is a proposed order to show cause by defendants to permanently seal one document filed in connection with defendants' recently filed motion for summary judgment. Now, that one document that they were wanted to be sealed was Exhibit M. It was actually whatever their documents were between them and Caffeine, from what I could understand from the paperwork. The court declines to sign defendant's proposed order to show cause. The court declines to seal any documents filed in connection with post note of issue dispositive motions and never seals documents utilized at trial. The court declines to seal any documents filed in connection with post note of issue dispositive motions and never seals documents utilized at trial. What does that mean? Well, from the onset of this case, URL, as any business would, has tried to basically keep any documents or any dealings of a competitive nature out of the public eye for, their own business reasons, of course. But what this also means is that since one, in their motion, their exhibit will not be sealed if they still want to present that as an exhibit. And two, going forward in the trial, with a trial, anything that's business related, competitive nature, all of that information will now be of public record. So what that means is what they got paid by Caffeine, what their relationship was with Caffeine, what they pay their battlers, the relationship with the battlers, all of this stuff is now not going to be able to be hidden from the public eye. So URL has a decision to make. They have a decision on whether they settle. That way, none of the information comes out, or going forward to trial, that the information come out, and they may be ending up with a lot of disgruntled battlers or people that they deal with because of certain information that'll come out in that paperwork or in the discovery of the trial. So URL certainly has some decisions to make. I think this is a small win for Norbes, but more than just a small win for Norbes, it's more of a big blow to the URL as far as going forward in the case, because they have to decide whether they want this information to come out. The only way it doesn't come out now at this point is if they settle. Any documents that they don't provide for the case might weaken their case. So they definitely would, with those type of things being brought up and being brought before the discovery, would have to show those type of documents anyway. So I'm sure this isn't a good look for them. I'm sure this is not what they wanted. It's very unusual that the judge would even respond to their motion without even hearing Norbes' lawyer's arguments, which means that he just was not with it. He's not doing that shit, period. Point blank. Y'all got to deal with it. So going forward, just know that any information that URL has regarding caffeine, any information that they have regarding, battlers, all of that is now up for public record. What's up, Darian? What's the word? What's the word? But yeah, I wanted to update y'all with that information. Like I said, URL cannot be happy about that. Cannot be happy about sharing the information, uh, public information or what have you, with other leagues. Just from a competitive nature of showing people what's good with you, Mo. Just from a competitive nature of showing people how they do their business. So that's a real thorn in their side going forward. Then they have to make a decision on whether they risk the uproar from battlers, realizing what they may have made, and battlers are gonna pocket watch. They're gonna be like, he got paid this and he got paid that, and because it's gonna get real specific, when you're talking about court documents and paperwork and paper trails or what have you. So it'll be right out there for everybody to see. So as a battler, I would be hoping that it goes to trial, but I don't know if that's going to be in URL's favor. I don't, and right now, I don't know how they save face from it. You know what I mean? Like, you probably should have settled to begin the case. The court has been recommending mediation since December 9th, 2020, from what I showed y'all on my channel as well. So the court has been recommending, saying that, both sides have an argument and going forward, that both sides have something to lose. So you see already going forward, Norbes, in the appeal, in the trial and in the appeal process, lost ownership and partnership in the appeal. But please be reminded that going forward to a trial, the judge has already said that the discovery will be very broad, and anything that comes out in discovery that relates to partnership or ownership will be revisited. So it's not totally off the book. So we know them books. We know, don't worry, we know, open them books. That's a fact. Like I said, you know what? I don't know what they got to hide, but I will say this, that no business wants to show, the public how they're making money and what they're doing, unless you actually have a corporation and you're responsible to a board of directors, and so you have to show them that information, and some of that information has to be public. But no limited liability partnership wants to sit and tell y'all how they make money, how they interact with people, what they pay people, what their profits and losses are. You know what I mean? Because it then lets companies then say, okay, well, I'm gonna shoot to pay the battlers this much, and I'll just accept, less of a profit. Or if I can look at the structure of how you organize things based on your paperwork, then I can copy and mimic what you do. And like you said, you can't copy respect, but you can copy the way somebody did some shit. You know what I mean? And I'm sure URL is trying to avoid showing all those different paperwork. Like I said, so going forward, it's starting to move fast, and it gets even more interesting. We're probably looking, if they're going to trial, they're probably looking at, late this year or early next year, to where we could have a resolution for this. If there's a settlement, it could be anytime. You're absolutely right there. And it's no different from being an audit unless it's foul play. But think about this. Even if there isn't foul play, right? Even if there isn't foul play, it's just the way that they do business normally. You know what I mean? They may do business different than other leagues. They may have a process that helps them to book battlers for a lesser amount, or relationships or what have you. So from a competitive edge, Pepsi never wants Coke to know what they're doing as far as how they're dealing with the contractors, how they're dealing with employees or what have you. So I'm sure URL doesn't want RBE and KOTD and all of these other leagues, GTX or whatever, to know what they're paying the battlers, or to know what type of worth they have to a big business company like caffeine, because that puts other people, that takes the advantage away that URL had. Let me see. Salute to my man Smoke NY in the building. What league's book is open? Actually, the court ruled, and we'll recap it for those who just showed up. URL filed damn, it's hard word to say, dispositive motion, basically for summary judgment. And in that dispositive motion, they asked for one of the records to be sealed. Well, the court said that not only would they not seal the record for that exhibit, that none of the records going forward for trial would be sealed. So what that means is that any dealings with caffeine, the battlers, or anything of a competitive nature, or any monies, whatever, all of that will be open for everyone to find out about. And from a competitive nature as a league, is not something that you would want to come out. It's not something that you would want to come out. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to my man, the Smoker NY's channel. You know what I'm saying? Doing big things. He's going live over there all the time or whatever. Shout out to my dog. But yeah, it's getting a little bit rough out here in these streets. Well, let me see. Darian said, if you're a battler, are you pursuing civil cases based off these foundings? I don't believe that you would be able to sue. I mean, I don't believe that you could pursue a civil case unless you just felt like something came out that there was a certain wrongdoing. But going forward in negotiations, what it means is that they would have a bigger amount of leverage. You know, if say if Tay Rock finds out, and I'm just speculating on the names, we'll just say battle rapper A finds out battle rapper B got paid, $25,000, but feels like that they're a better battle rapper, but they only got paid 15. What do you think when they come back to go negotiate, they're going to be trying to get 15 or 20? No, they're going to want better than 25. You see what I'm saying? So that's how that starts hurting pockets, because, people will definitely pocket watch. So this is going to be a thorn in URL side. This makes decision a whole lot harder. And the fact that the judge didn't even wait for a response from Norbes' team. He just ruled it out right off the top. Like, yeah, ain't fucking around with it. Y'all gonna have to show what you're doing. Period, point blank. You're gonna have to show what you're doing. Shout out to everybody in the building. You know what I'm saying? I got a whole lot more people than Dave in here, because you only get 2 people smoke. But yeah, man, this shit keep getting more and more interesting. I'm not trying to change my channel to URL versus Norbes, but I only really get motivated sometimes to do this shit when I find out some information. And I feel like, this last time some stuff got put out and it wasn't correct. So I felt the need to correct it. And so now when the information comes out, since we're getting down to the nitty gritty, I feel like I should be bringing it to you as fast as possible. Let me see if there's anything else I can pull up real quick. Let's see. No, here we go. Document list. I'm gonna show you this tab real quick. Let me see how much it shows you. Give me 1 second. Pull it up. I'll answer that question once I find this mo. Hold up. Oh, that's not it. There we go. Okay. As you see on this document, that's why I was telling y'all from the trunk. I got all the info as soon as you see the dates, as soon as it get processed, I got it. Anyway, it's just a matter of whether I want to blog about it or not, or whether I feel like it's information that y'all would want to see. As we can see here is the order to reference to the ADR. The notion of motion for the summary judgment is here. Statement, material facts, yada, yada, yada. But as you can see on these exhibits, which go from A all the way to M, a certain number of these exhibits, they want to be sealed. Exhibit, request to seal, that's exhibit M. There's another one on here as well. But as you can see, the judge even denied Norbes' lawyer any more time to respond. to the dispositive summary judgment. Even though URL's lawyers kind of filed it late, the judge said Norbes' lawyers still had the same amount of time to do their what do we call this? Their response to the summary judgment. But either way, he still gave them 30 days, and he told URL, y'all are not going to get to cover up any of this stuff that you're going to have to share with everyone in the world. Yeah, like prior Cashman had put together a whole memorandum of why it should be sealed and all of that kind of stuff. And as you can see, a memorandum of law in support of defendant's motion to seal Exhibit M. And from what I could tell, that was specifically referring to URLs dealing with the caffeine, with caffeine in that deal. And they put together, of course, all their statement of facts. And all this is irrelevant now because the judge is like, yeah, I don't give a damn about none of that shit. We're going to show it all. So going forward, the case starts getting real good, real exciting, because you're getting some stuff. So I'm figuring, you know, next 6 months or so, we either got a settlement or we got a court case, and that's going to be even more fun, goddamn me, to sit back and watch all of that stuff happening in real time. And let me see. Let me get to your question, Mo. Do you feel it would be kind of do you feel it kind of would destroy URL once battlers find out the numbers? You know, that would depend on battlers themselves. And, like all battlers, I'm sure didn't get paid less than what they thought they were worth. Some guys probably got paid more than they thought they should have made. You know what I mean? You hear them talk about the caffeine money and what have you. And, you see the kind of weird little dealings going on with caffeine and working with Emerson Kennedy. But, if you got the app, you still get, $10 off of, or it's like it's some weird stuff going on. Like, is caffeine trying to separate themselves from URL or not? You also had that Smack interview where Smack was saying, he wasn't going to be doing any of the more corporate sponsorships too as well. So I don't really even know what's going on their end. But I know from a battler standpoint, the only way it would affect them is if they felt like that they were severely underpaid. Then they might, decide, well, you know what, I'm going to go to another league because these guys don't appreciate me. They paid me 10 grand and they paid this rapper that I feel like is not as on my level. They paid him 20 grand. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, let's let you find out somebody that do your job, make 50 cents an hour more than you do. Come raise time, you like, where's mine, bro? Like my productivity is better than this guy George over here, but George is making goddamn me 15.50 and I'm making 15. What we doing, bro? Oh no. Okay. And some people will cut off their nose to spite their face and go somewhere else and work for $14.75. But like, man, fuck that motherfucker who was trying to pay me 15. He got me fucked up. Real talk. Could sealed documents contain subscription app subscription numbers? Yeah, they most definitely could. Going in the future, when you get into the trial and discovery itself, and the unjust enrichment and the promissory estoppel, those two things all relate to Norbes being able to know, or the court being able to know, just how much money the URL was able to make off of Norbes' efforts with the company. In order to know that, you have to know what contracts they had, what business dealings they had. So that brings all that information to the forefront. It also brings to the forefront because I believe that app got instituted just a little bit before or after Norbes' relationship was dissolved with URL. So it definitely could. The app money will definitely come into play. will definitely come into play, because it is my understanding as well that Norbes was actually shopping somewhat of a similar deal to another company, and they didn't want to move on that one and end up going to move on the caffeine, which was a much lower level company, but it didn't involve Norbes. Who knew in 2023 DJ Envy and URL are looked at as villains? LOL, amazing. I don't DJ Envy now, what he doing is on some wild shit. You know what I mean? Like URL, I don't, I'm a fan of battle rappers. Um, URL is a bunch of, they start out as some young brothers trying to make their way, you know what I mean, working from the ground up, trying to establish something, you know what I mean? So to say that they're villains, I wouldn't say that they're villains. I mean, there are people who they spent their whole life hustling, and whether you think it's friendships going on or business relationship are going on, they still hustling. You know what I mean? So at a certain point, if a hustler is steady hustling you, or if you're in a relationship where you feel like you're not getting an even exchange, then you stand there and getting hustled. You know what I mean? At the same time, when you sign a contract, you're saying, hey, I read this and I'm willing to abide by what's going on in this contract. Now, of course, when you find out that the company might have been paying somebody else more or something, you'll have an issue with it. But as I tell people all the time, when I negotiate what I get paid for a job, I'm satisfied with what I've negotiated, because I've negotiated based on what I feel like I'm worth. You know what I'm saying? So if I get to a job and somebody else got paid more, I could complain, but I don't. Who knows? That might be the only job he gets. I might get multiple jobs at that same rate. You know what I'm saying? So I don't try to pocket watch when it comes to that. But when it comes to this, battle rappers are definitely going to be like, you know, battle rappers are definitely going to be like, where's my bread, and why I can't get paid this? You know what I mean? If I'm URL to the paper shredder, actually in this case, URL or somebody at the prior Cashman law offices went and changed and took Norbes' name off of the Wikipedia page that had him on there as like a co-founder of URL, which is actually illegal. When you're under a lawsuit, you're not allowed to change any of that stuff. Anything that could be used as evidence, you're not allowed to mess with it at all. You're not allowed to delete stuff, tamper with stuff. Remember when Enron was shredding stuff, they got in trouble for all that? Yeah. What's up with it, Terrell Pete? Long time no see. Long time no see. But yeah, all that stuff, you can't mess with that. You got, and when it comes to the trial too, you have some things that are now what you would call things that have happened in the case that are factual. It is factual that Beasley did an affidavit where he said Norbes was not in control of any of the URL websites or what have you. He did have to come back later and retract the affidavit. Where I'm come from, they call that lying or not knowing the entire truth, trying to just say it off the top of your head, whatever, what have you. They have the issue where they changed the website and took Norbes off of it. You know what I mean? Those are two principal facts. So when you go to a jury and you started talking about, well, here's some things that they've done, even in this case, that may seem a certain type of way, that may, look as if they're acting a certain type of way that may unethical, what have you. That all comes into play in a jury trial. Also in a jury trial, they award compensatory damages, but they also reward what they call punitive damages, where the jury just basically comes up with a number that they believe that the plaintiff deserves, quantum merit, which is what he deserves. So when that comes into play, 70 million, it's all going to depend on what comes out in the discovery. We know 70 million or 40 or 70, I can't remember right now, but it was like 30 million and got increased after some of the discovery paperwork came out. So now that it's increased, who knows what a jury looks at Norbes and looks at URL and decides what they, how they want to rule. And if they rule in Norbes' favor, how much money they want to give him. That's a big thing. You know what I mean? So like I said, the note of issue has been filed You know, Norbes' lawyers basically said that they're willing to start at that 15 million number. You know, URL could just settle out at 15 million. They could go into this mediation that they have to have, settle out at a number lower than that. But to me, it would be in their best interest to settle right now. You know, you don't know what's going to happen when you go to trial. You don't want a bunch of disgruntled battle rappers. You don't want your competitors to see what you're paying battle rappers and what you're paying to put on events. You know, say they find out you paying a certain venue a certain amount of money. They agree to try to book the venue for more than once. There's a lot of competitive angles. You know, they try to book the venue at a higher price to keep you from a date, you know, or keep you from doing your event, or buy a block of dates. You know what I mean? So if they don't want to, not risking that information would be a big thing for URL, I think, going forward. How much they're willing to risk it, I don't know. You know what I mean? I know that it seemed like from the onset that they've been, you know, we're going to go to find the truth no matter what. And if that means trial, so be it. But it's not just about Norbes winning anymore. It's about the fallout from what happens when your competitors and when battlers find out what type of money that you're spending and what type of money that you're not spending. But anyway, what I've been on this joint for about a good 26 minutes. I'm gonna leave y'all with that right now, man. Y'all let me know what y'all feel about it in the comment section. You know what I mean? I'll try to answer all y'all comments, of course. You know what I mean? Let me know how y'all feel, whether you feel like URL is, you know, it's got a slight edge, or if Norbes has got a slight edge, or, you know, if you feel like Norbes is going to get paid, if you still feel like the URL will come out of this and not have to pay any monies whatsoever. Let me know what you think. And as always, shout out to WAVEGANG, Smoking NY, Pretty Money, Broke Down Network, Wing Truth, ARP, RBE Media, Savage, my man, No Debate Ray. Well, I'll let you. Oh, you know what I forgot though?
EJ, always. 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 Representing that wave gang. EJ, always. EJ, always. EJ, always. EJ, always.
You are now rocking with
DJ Ladybug.
On the ones and twos, and just call me Monty or Eric.